All right, we're just getting started here for the live broadcast. We'll be with you in just a moment. Hang on 1 second as we go live. I'm just typing in something. All right, boom, there we go. So that's set. Got our Facebook Live going, and we'll kick it off. So, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. I'm Lightheart from the Digital Republic, the No BS Monday Night Coaching Rants. I am excited. I had a lot of yerba mate today, so look out. We are ready to rock and roll. It's a beautiful Monday. I had my birthday the other day. Holy cow, can't believe it. I'm starting to get up there, right? Really starting to get up there. Thank God I've been using a lot of health technology, and I feel really great. I feel energized. Had a wonderful party and thankful to have so many people. But what are we talking about tonight is something I think that we've got to bring up. We've got to mention this. We've got to let people know about what I think is what I call there's in life nowadays, there's winners, there's losers, and there's spectators. And my concern is that we're creating a society of spectators. And what I mean by that is this, okay? So think about this for a second. When I was a kid, and for those who are young and, all that sort of stuff, going back, years and years and years, that, people that didn't grow up in this environment, like right now, people are being born into a world where there's always been the internet, there's always been social media, there's always been Gmail and WW this and Netflix this and instant everything. And we're also in a very highly organized, highly sophisticated digital world where everything is kind of programmed, everything is designed, everything runs on mathematical algorithms, everything is tracked in artificial intelligence, you name it. This is the world that people are growing up with, like maps. I was explaining to Krista the other day what it was like without when we didn't have like map technology. We didn't have Google Maps, right? We didn't have iMaps. We didn't have those things. We have to figure things out and take exit and draw it out on a map and stuff. But when I grew up as a kid, we organized our own baseball and capture the flag and ball hockey. And, mom would kick us out and say, look, you need to be home at supper at 5 o'clock. And we'd had a watch. There's no phones and stuff. We had a watch, check your phone. Oh, goodness. Or be home by dark, come home, all those sort of things. And the interesting thing is everything just kind of worked. We were able to, there was a lot more freedom and there was a lot less structure. And what it taught us is to figure out a lot of things by ourselves. And now, before I get slammed by saying, uh-oh, here comes good old Wade Lightheart in the glory days kind of conversation, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to say that was a world that people have grown up. And up until the digital age, that's virtually how all humans grew up. For thousands of years, there was a lot of independence. There was a lot of interaction with nature. There was interaction with people. And I was watching some components on Simon Sinek when he's got a great video on what do millennials want and what does empathy mean. Check out those videos. I think they're fantastic. But I was listening to this and I was trying to kind of understand the world that we live in today because I'm fascinated because my life changed in 2004 when a friend of mine told me that you could make money online. And I thought he was crazy. He thought that the fact that I didn't own a computer at that time was crazy. And but it didn't stop us, and we built a great business that's still running today. Now, what does all that to mean? Well, what I've noticed is because of this digital technology thing, and I'm just going to reach up here and grab my phone because I need this as a piece. It's it's driving me crazy. I'm having fun here. Like I said, I'm caffeinated. You see these things? Now, if you look at, they've got a little piece on it that talks about screen time, right? Screen time. check how much screen time you're putting in. The average person is putting in something like 3 hours of screen time. The average person is checking their emails and text 40 times a day. Think about that. Now, the chemical that's released when you use this, when you get a text message, when you get a Facebook post, when you get a like, when you get someone reaching out to you, you get a dopamine hit. That same dopamine hit is the same thing that you get from smoking, drinking, and the same thing that you get from gambling. Okay, those 3 things. Now, what's happened is this is given to people at a young age when you're trying to find yourself in the world. You're trying to get interacted to, the uncomfortable stage of adolescence and then moving forward from that. And so what happens is the way people form relationships today, particularly younger people, is much different than we have at any point in time in history. Now, conversely, the upside is, now there's always upsides and downsides. Now, the upside is you can find an expert on virtually anything that you're interested in about 3 seconds, or someone that's into that. So it's very easy to connect with like-minded people around the world. So oftentimes we know people in all different parts of the world and we don't know our neighbors on the floor of our apartment building. Interesting. This is a unique time in history. So what does all that mean? Well, what I find is, I'll give you an example. I can remember if you watched the New Year's celebrations. So a friend of mine was sending me the New Year's celebrations from Paris. And there was this extraordinary fireworks display. And you're going to know what this is like. You're going to know what I mean. Extraordinary fireworks display. Beautiful things going up. And she was there with the crowd of people, and she was filming this crowd of people. And what I found fascinating is the entire, well, there were probably thousands of people. And there was like literally half the crowd was filming what was happening at the event. So at a live event, but they're looking at the live event through your phone. How many times have you done that? Honestly, think about it. How many times have you been in a live event that you're not watching the live event, or you're stopping to take a selfie and a picture to put on your Facebook page, or doing all that sort of stuff? So what's interesting is in today's world, there's this whole thing about, it's not about the event, it's about how the event is framed, how it's recorded, how it's promoted, how it's projected. And so everything is going through a kind of filter that's creating a spectator society. And when we look at other people, so for example, let's say you go on my social media page, okay? Let's just use myself. I'll use myself as an example, right? So you'll see these pictures of, Chris and I traveling, and we're in camels in India, and we're, flying on a plane in first class, and then we're, having a party here at the house with all kinds of people, right? There's not a picture of me going to the bathroom. There's not a picture of me putting my clothes on. There's not a picture of me getting really mad because I can't figure out something on my phone, or I don't show you the real life, right? Like, I'm a human. I have all kinds of limitations. I have, personality quirks that things. I have frustrations. I have all types of things that you never ever see on social media. You never ever see on Facebook. The fact that I got, if you look here, I'm going to show you something here. You look out my window. See, I got a ring light here, right? See this? You know what this ring light does? This ring light shines the perfect light on me, okay? It shines the perfect light on me, so it makes me look lighter and brighter, right? Now, I like that look, but is it real? Well, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's the same thing if you look at magazines and things. So what's interesting is we've created a kind of a cropped, projected society. And we look at each other, not necessarily in the real world, but through this digital representation of people's lives. Now think about that for a second. Now, everybody, I would say, has a persona. So if you go on a first date, I'm going to get where I'm going here in a minute. You go on a first date with somebody and, they're so amazing and so wonderful, and you're on your best behavior and you're wearing your best clothes and you have your best perfume on, and, you did your hair perfectly and you got all the nicest things because you want to make a what? You want to make a good impression on that person. You want to put your best self forward, or you're going to an interview with a prospective employer, or you're going to a public event, you put on a persona. But now, and that was traditionally, in the older days, you'd go to church and wear your Sunday best, or you go to an interview and you wear your proper clothes, or you're going to an event and you want to make a certain impression. And that was characteristic throughout history. You had your best presentation. But now in the digital world, it's constant. There's a constant, you know what? I took 10 photos of the event. I'm going to pick the best one to get the best representation. Not the one where I'm drooling out of my face and I got ketchup stains on me. So what we have almost an artificially created world. We have an artificially created environment. And people are watching that, like you're watching me on this recording right now, and that recording is determining your impression of me, your impression of my life, your impression of other people's lives. And this is accelerated by things like Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook and all the various types of social media, YouTube and all that sort of stuff. So what does that mean? Well, what's happening is we're getting an artificially presented look at the world. Okay. Same thing if you go to the news. You go to the news and it's like ABC News presents, or CBS Sports presents. For example, the difference between going to a hockey game or a football game or a basketball game or something like that live, where you're feeling the crowd, you can smell the hot dogs, you're squashed in the seat next to the person next to you. Someone's annoying. Like, there's a whole different event than what you see on TV, which has announcers and analysis and stuff like this that are making commentaries and showing you replays. And there's like two different events. There's the live event, and then there's the digital representation of the live event, complete with commercials and advertising and all that stuff. And because people are participating more in the digital world than they're participating in the physical world, and that world is becoming more structured, more organized, more edited, more structured, I think that people are getting a digital representation of life. And oftentimes that life is actually warping your perception of your own life. Because if you looked at my Facebook page and you're like, oh, Wade's traveling here and he's got this great lifestyle and he has this wonderful life, you don't see all the other parts. You're seeing these little snippets. You're seeing these little pieces in time that are put out there. And this is how everybody's presenting in social media. This is how everybody's presenting online and YouTube and all that stuff. And it's easy to generate a perception of somebody or something that is a controlled perception. It's not actually 100% authentic. And one of the reasons I get on this Monday night call to talk to you about things that I've been thinking about, or things that I've observed in the online world, or things for you to think about, is because I want to be 100% as close to authentic as I possibly can get. Now, yes, I have a light going on. Yes, there's an audio camera and stuff, but this is me in person talking to you like we're sitting in my living room. I'm passionate. I'm yelling. Sometimes my hair is messed up. My collar's not perfect. I'm broadcasting out of my home office and bedroom and stuff. So this is kind of an intimate moment. But again, it's still a digital representation. It's not 100% authentic. Now, the thing is because the world is presenting this way, what happens is we get fascinated with other people, right? It's just human conditions. We want to know, why is there so many people chasing after watching the Kardashians? For example, let's use those. Like the Kardashians are this amazing sensation. Or you can look at a guy like Ty Lopez in internet marketing, for example, that has this lifestyle where he's got cars and girls by the pool and he's interviewing famous people and all this stuff. It's a contrived lifestyle that you're looking into to promote a certain idea or topic. But what's happening, it's warping people's sense of themselves. And oftentimes they start feeling bad about themselves. They start feeling bad about their life because it doesn't compare to someone else's digital representation of life. So it's like you're only looking at people through their Sunday bests. That is warping people's perceptions of their life. Like I said, I just turned 47 years old. So I'm 47 years old. What you don't see is where in the online world is you don't see where I was in 2004 when I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about presentation. In fact, I had severe aversion to sales. And you didn't see any of that stuff. You didn't see my clunky old computer. You didn't even see a video of me because there was no video of me at that time. You didn't see any of that stuff. But that's where I started. People see me as today and think I've always been this way. No, this is a culmination of a journey. That journey involves a lot of things. That journey, reading books, going courses, taking marketing courses, testing things, trying things, all these sort of things. You only still get a snippet of my best self, my presentation to the world. And what happens is a lot of people who want to get started in the online marketing are terrified. They think, I can't be like you, Wade, or I can't be like so-and-so or Kim Kardashian, or I can't be like the person that you're following on Instagram that has 1.5 million followers. You don't know the story. And so what do? You think that you don't know enough, so what do? You go find someone else, and you go find someone else, and you go find someone else. And what happens is there's a growing insecurity that starts to grow in your life because you're not actually participating in life. You're a spectator in it. And what I notice when I walk around on the streets in the real world, and I'm going to invite you to do this, go to a coffee shop. How many people are staring into a screen? How many people are on their phone? How many people go to an office meeting with your coworkers and everybody's sitting there on their phones typing away until the meeting starts? They're not connecting with the people in the room. How many people have been out to restaurants with your friends and in the middle of the conversation, in the middle of what's going on, they're texting back and forth, or they're taking a picture of their food to post on social media before they eat it, and they're making their partner wait or their friends wait, or take a picture of everybody before we blow the candles out, or whatever it happens to be. That's become normal now. Now, I'm not here to criticize it. I'm just here. That's the new normal. How is this impacting people? Well, what I would say is that we're seeing an increase. There's a direct correlation between the increase of use of social media and the increase of depression. Why is that? Well, we naturally compare ourselves in pecking order. Jordan Peterson, the evolutionary biological psychologist that's come to world-renowned fame recently, and he's got some fascinating ideas, and he talks about it, the hierarchical structures of the biochemical nature, which is evident in lobsters, which we shared a common ancestor 350 million years, about these dominant hierarchies. This is not gender-based hierarchies. It is competence-based hierarchies. And there is a biochemical response that we compare ourselves to other people. And nowadays, instead of comparing ourselves to people in our community or people in our age group or people in our normal generals, we're comparing ourselves to the absolute world's best in whatever we're talking about, and that can make us feel insecure. That can make us feel like we're not good enough, and that can make us feel like I don't want to get started. I don't want to ride my bike. I don't want to play ball hockey where I'm not that good. I don't want to play baseball. I don't want to wear this outfit because I don't look like so-and-so, or I don't feel as attractive, or I don't feel as smart, or I don't feel as successful, or I don't feel as wealthy or as influential, or I don't have as many friends on YouTube or as many social media followers as this person, or I don't have the body type of this particular person, and I'm not this tall, or my boobs aren't this big, or my waist isn't this small, or I don't have this designer bag, or I'm not going on this vacation. All these comparisons starts to come in and paralyze us. And the title of this talk was Winners, Losers, and Spectators. Okay? And the slide, what I call, there's a slide that's happening into the spectator life. It's a dangerous and self-destructive slide that people aren't willing to go out and fail. And I'm going to tell you something. It's really important to learn how to lose. People talk about winning all the time. The importance of winning, winning at life, winning at business, winning in relationships, winning in spirit. Everything in life has become a competition that's compared against some super idea. Like, you know, imagine if I got up every day and compared myself to The Rock. Compared myself to that guy. First off, I've met The Rock in person. He's 6'2" or 6'3". He's got perfect skin. He's got a perfect build. He's got tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. He's world famous. He has millions of followers. He's incredibly good looking. He's incredibly so smart. He's incredibly successful. He's everything that it would be really easy to feel insecure, to not get on my Facebook today and do something for you and post something that's important. And this is something that a lot of people are doing. You might have done this. And I can tell you the danger is it takes a while to get proficient. I'll give you an example. Do you know, I started out bodybuilding when I was 15 years old, and I put all these pictures of bodybuilding champions on the wall, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is my idol and all this sort of stuff. And I compared myself to those people. Now, the benefit was that created a lot of drive. There was a gap between them and me, and I wanted to be like them, so I was willing to do the work and put the time and effort in. But I didn't have the social media stuff that I had then. We would wait months to hear the results of the Mr. Olympia. Months. There was no way to find out about it. There was no coverage about this. When Mr. Universe followed, we'd have to wait 3, 4, 5 months before we knew who won the championship. Now you know the second it happens. What that creates is an instant satisfaction, an instant gratification. I want to click and get my business. I want to click and be famous. I want to click and swipe right and get a date. I want to click and get my food delivered to me. I want to click and buy the object that I want. I don't necessarily know how to go through the paces of life. I don't necessarily know how to do something poorly and how to lose and how to learn from that loss and to lose again and to learn from that loss and to lose again and to learn from that loss. Like in my bodybuilding career, it took me 10 years to win my first show. Now, at 9 years in, I had competed in a bunch of shows. I lost every one of them. Did I see myself as a loser? No, I did not see myself as a loser. I lost, but I was not a loser. Through my losing the contest, I was getting feedback amongst my peers of where I stood. And I determined, and I would alter my training, I would alter my results, I would alter my diet, I would learn from those losses, and eventually I learned how to win. For me, that took 10 years. It took me another 6 years to become a national champion and to go to the Mr. Universe contest. 16 years to learn how to win a national championship. There's a lot of losses in there. Now, the key was, had I been comparing myself all of that time on the instant gratification social media side of things that we have now today that's influencing a lot of people, I don't know if I would have succeeded. I don't know if I would have stuck it out. I don't know if I would have lost enough to end up winning. And likely what would have happened is I would have become a spectator, living vicariously through other people's successes, other people's lifestyles, other people's quote unquote events and feeling sorry for myself, feel that I wasn't good enough. And we all have those feelings. We all have those feelings of comparison where we don't measure up to someone else, in developing an unhealthy representation of who I was in the world and driving myself deeper and deeper and deeper into a fantasy world that isn't real, but seems real, and having a biochemical response in my brain that was telling me that my life sucked, or that I sucked, or that I was a loser, and that they were a winner, and I couldn't be a winner. And this is a very, very dangerous game. It's very dangerous. And I see it impacting people all over the world. I see a lot of people frustrated and upset and angry. You see it you'll see it in political debates now, right? People are really, really locked into their positions. Now, voting, for example, in a country like the United States or Canada has been about 50-50 pretty much since there's 50% on one side, 50% on the other side. There's a few people that swing back and forth. Stays the same. But if you watch the media, you'd think there's an absolute war. If you turned on the news, you would think crime is going up. Crime has been steadily declining. This is the lowest levels of crime in the history. This is the lowest level of gun violence in the history of the country. It is the lowest level of poverty in the world in history. It is the lowest level of infectious diseases in history. It is the greatest amount of wealth distributed to the most amount of people in history. Are there super wealthy people in the world like never before? Yes. Has there always been those people? Yes. The problem is that we can see the few thousand people that are in the billionaire category and compare ourselves to that and forget how wealthy we are, how fortunate we are, how healthy we are, how much abundance we have, because we're comparing it and we're generating these mass social movements that are not based on reality, that they are based on a perception of reality that has been canned, that has been edited, that has been manufactured to make you think and feel a certain way. This is the game of the world. And it's turning people into angry spectators or lethargic spectators into participants. Well, what does that mean in your life? Each and every week, I get connected to people all around the world. I have an online business through the Digital Republic. I have another online business that generates nutritional supplements. And I'm always dumbfounded that people will contact me and they'll sometimes treat me like some sort of celebrity. Oh my God, I'm so glad you talked to you, Wade. I'm like, what's the big deal? It's just me. Because they have a perception of me that is not really real. I'm a guy that puts my shoes on like you do, and I have to eat food, and I have to go to the bathroom, and I do all those sorts of things, just like everybody else. And it's the same of anybody else. Yet I'll talk to them, and they'll be like, oh, wait, oh, wow. You know, because I did a YouTube video, or I was on some podcast that had 1 million viewers or 2 million viewers or whatever. But the reality is we're everyday people like anything else. And when people approach me like that, I go, I wonder how they're feeling about their life. I wonder if they're spending a little too much here and not enough time here. I don't know. I think about it. I'm just going to have a drink of my mushroom tea. Hopefully I didn't slurp. I slurp my tea sometimes, just so you know. Drives Krista crazy when I slurp my tea, by the way, just so you know. I'm a slurper. There it is. I'm out. I'm a slurper. But here's what I'm saying. What I mean by that is, how much time are you spending in observer mode versus participant mode? How many things have you done in the last year that you absolutely sucked at? yet we're still okay that you sucked because you just were participating in it. You were willing to go through the suck. I'm concerned that a lot of people in this instant act world, in this instant response world, this instant drug hit world, that we actually get addicted to these perceptions of reality instead of addicted to the joy of existence itself. That we are observing life through a digital screen as opposed to participating in life. Well, for example, I get in the elevator in my building and I make a point of saying hi to people in the elevator. Hey, how's it going? What's up? Boy, you look nice today. It's a nice outfit. How are you? And it's, some people are like, oh my God. They don't know what to do. Some people will ignore me. They'll have their headphones on and they will go in there and like, I'm not a person. They need to ignore me because they're not comfortable with an interaction. Some people light rate up because nobody talked to them this day. Here's another example. When you go to the cash register at your local store, at your, you know, wherever you're going, I stop and I say, hi, how's your day going? How are you today? Looks pretty busy in here. You having a good day? And I listen to what the person actually has. I'm genuinely interested. I genuinely want to create a moment of interaction with a fellow human being. This person is real. This person is serving me. This person is putting my groceries in a bag and giving them to me. This person is helping me in the store find where the grapes are because I can't seem to find them for some reason, or where my favorite crackers are because I can't find them. They deserve a thank you. They deserve some respect. Maybe I can have a little joke with them. And when I do that, I find I feel joy in a way that I can't any other way. All this to say, I would like for you to look at your screen time. If you have one of these phones, I would invite you to track your screen time for the next little while. See what's happening. See how much screen time you're putting in. And then I'd like to take 10% of that. 10%. So let's say you're tracking 2 hours a day of screen time. Moderate by today's standards. That's literally 14 hours a week. You can learn a PhD in almost any subject in 4 years on 2 hours a day. Think about that for a moment. Take that 2 hours a day and take 10% of it. So let's say it's 2 hours a day. Take 20 minutes a day of interacting with real people in the real world, or doing something yourself that you're not good at and that will be subjected to some public display, whether that's putting up your own Facebook post if you want to go digital, or going out and playing a sport or trying something new, and see what happens. See how you feel about that. See what comes up. Do you feel insecure about it? Do you feel good about it? Reach out and talk to people in the real world. Talk to the coffee shop barista. Ask them how their day's going. Talk to the cashier that's ringing in your groceries. Talk to the waiter or waitress or host at your restaurant. Stop by the chef at your at the local line cooks and say, hey, you know, whoever made that back there, I just want to thank you. Did a great job. One of my buddies, Lamont's really good at that. He's fantastic, and we've been buddies forever, and he's really good at just talking to people. Now, he's an extrovert, of course. He's probably on this call. But the bottom line is he's particularly good at that, at connecting with people. And I admire that quality with him, and I've learned a lot from him about his interaction. And I would say that I'm not as extroverted as him, although I'm a pretty strong extrovert. I learned from that experience, and I admire that. And I love the willingness to be vulnerable. The willingness to be vulnerable, because in our vulnerability is where our humanity is. And it's good to not be perfect. It's good to not be air dry or what do they call that? Airbrushed, right? It's good to be a loser, because only if you're willing to be a loser can you ever really be a winner. But the real losers are people who are on the sidelines of life. They're not taking their shot. They're not willing to do something poorly in order to get better at it. And the secret to success, my friends, is the willingness to fail over and over and over and over and over and over and over again in the pursuit of becoming who you wish to be, but yet accepting who you are, because the acceptance of who you are is in the process, not in the outcome. Think about that for a minute. It is in the process of becoming something where the joy is. It is in the journey of life. Believe me, I've had extraordinary events that's happened to me that I've worked for decades for. And when you get there, you'll find that if you haven't fallen in love with the process, the outcome gives you very, very little joy. You get a little hit. Oh, wow. That was a 7-figure launch. We made $1 million. Cool. And it's gone. But when we make an impact in other people's lives, when we make a connection with another human being in the real world, in the physical world where we feel a hug or we talk to someone about their life, there is a biochemical reaction of biochemical events that transpires that reminds us of our imperfect, perfect humanity. And that, my friends, is very important. And I am, as a digital marketer, as someone who is online, and as I said, air lighted and all those wonderful things that, frame a lifestyle in a world and stuff, I would say this: don't get too caught up in it. Don't let your perception of other people warp your perception of yourself, because each and every one of us is valuable. Each and every one of us is deserving of our own existence. You exist. You're here. Therefore, you are worthy. Therefore, you are a participant in life. The universe has created you. There's only one of you. Throughout all of history, your unique expression of yourself, your unique being with all your wrinkles and warts and muffin tops. And I encourage you to celebrate it. I encourage you to own it. I encourage you to let it shine and to share it. Warts and all, as they say, because you never know. It's not the perfections of ourselves that people resonate most with. It's the commonality of our imperfections. The commonality that makes us all human. So in your pursuit of digital mastery, in your pursuit of building an online business, in your pursuit of your day-to-day life, in your relationships, I would encourage you to be your authentic self. That doesn't mean to be always vulnerable and always talking about this or on your social media posts about me. That's what most things are. Me's, right? I'm not encouraging. I'm encouraging you to reach out to other people and connect with other people from their standpoint, and to recognize that we're all together in this great big human condition, floating. I mean, what's more crazy than us floating on this little clump of water and dirt at some tiny, insignificant galaxy spinning out into space that's billions of years old, that somehow we've got to this. There's nothing more crazy than life itself. It's so far out. It's so wild. It's so out there that how could you not fall in love with the miracle of that? And I'm here to remind you of that you are a miracle, that don't get caught in the win-lose game. Winning and losing are part of the game. It must be a loser to have a winner. There must be a winner to have a loser. That's a good thing. What is a dangerous thing is spending more time being a spectator than being a loser or being a winner. Because if you're only spectating, then you really become a loser in life itself. I want you to think about it this week. I want to reach out to you and let you know how much I love you and care about you, and I'm so grateful that you're here and joining us each and every Monday night. For those who want to change their life or are looking for to get a new start, to reset their life, to live life on their own terms, to live the laptop lifestyle, private message me at the Digital Republic. We have a great group of what I call a community of capitalism, capitalistic community. So I believe that people are attracted on the liberal side because of community. I think people are on the capitalistic side because they want to create value for their lives. We've created a community of those type of people at the Digital Republic that you can participate in, that you can be part of, that you can join a group of people who are being authentic, who have their warts and funny hairdos and different backgrounds and lifestyles and age groups and all that sort of stuff, because we're creating a new world. We call it the Digital Republic. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to share with you. I'm Way T Lightheart with this no BS rant for this week. Love you all. See you next week.